Okay, so today we're going to do a whole new concept. Now I want to talk about arithmetic series. Now the difference between a sequence and a series is this. To give you an example, say you start out a job at $50,000 a year and you get a raise of $5,000 every year. Here's the arithmetic sequence question to that. What do you make in the 10th year? The arithmetic series question to that is, how much money have you made the last 10 years? What's the difference between the two? Yes?
First one is all the new paid, not including A, and the second.
No. Your second part is right. Yes? Okay. Perfectly said. The 10th term is very different than the sum of the 10 terms. Does everybody see the difference between that? Okay. So if I asked you for the arithmetic sequence, I'm asking for the 10th term. If for arithmetic series, I'm asking for all of the terms combined. Okay? So this is what to make a very short example. Do you see how one will be separated by commas? The other will be separated by plus signs. Okay? We're looking for the sum. So arithmetic series is the sum. So what is, this is what I would call T5. This would be S5. In fact, I can still call this T5. S5 is all of them. T5 is just the one. Okay? We've got to keep that straight. The more you are learning, the more you have a chance of mixing things up. That is the whole point behind the study sheet, for you to be able to make little notes and things to differentiate the two so you're not getting them mixed up. Now, I'm not going to go through and show you how the formulas are made, but I want to turn to the next page, and I want you to go down to the bottom of the page and look at these two formulas. Here is the formula to find the sum of all the terms. Here is another formula that tells you the sum of all the terms. Now, either someone had way too much time on their hands, or someone figured out you need two formulas. Now, besides using the formulas, I think you have to be able to look at a question and go, oh, I'm going to use formula 1, or I will use formula 2. Okay, and I'll count this as always, call this formula 1 and formula 2. Now, can anybody tell me what is different about the two? In other words, what do I need if I'm going to use formula 1, and what do I need if I'm using formula 2? Or to even make it simpler, what is asked for one, but it's the other one you don't even use. And the other one, what's asked, was not even used. Yes? Okay. Number 1, you need D. Okay? So you need to have D. If they give you D, use formula 1. Now, what about the second formula? What is going to be the draw that's going to say I will use formula 2? What is the draw to use formula 2? Yes? Tn. Very good. Okay. Now, what do you need what do you need? So what is in common with both? So in other words, what doesn't differentiate them? Yes. Okay. They both need a, what else? No, variables we're talking. What else do I need for both of them? Yep. N. You need N. You need the number of terms for both of them. And also, Sn is common. Do you see that? Remember, Sn is a variable, just on the other side of the equal sign. So if you have A, they give you A, right away you don't know which formula you're going to use. If they give you N, right away you don't know what formula to use. If they give you D, use formula 1. If they gave you AN and TN, use formula 2. Okay? So that's the first thing we need to know. Now, it is one thing to know the formulas, it's the other thing, how do you use them, and how do I put them into my calculator, okay? Unless this class is the first one ever that I've ever had, just putting the first example into your calculator, many people will be like, what? I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that. How are you getting that? Okay? So, let's do one. Well, no, let's do one. Let's do 5. We're going to do 5 examples here. Now, the sum of the first, now sum right away. Ding, 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 ding. Something should be going off. I'm looking for a series. The sum of the first 14 terms. I'm not asking for the 14th term. I'm asking the sum of them. Of the arithmetic series 9, 15, 21. Okay? So before we start these, we are going to do an inventory. What do I know? Yes? No, we don't have to find the difference for this one. If we have enough to do it, we might not even have to do that. Okay? So what do we know? D is 6. We do know that one, right? What else? A is 9. Anything else? What's that? 14. N equals 14. Now, why don't people pick that out quick? Because they put it as a word, right? So, you know what? Like, we all learn differently. If you need to, you can put things like this. You know, I want that, so I remember it's a 14. Now, which formula should I use? Number 1 or number 2? 1, okay? So can we all just write it down for the heck of it? I know it takes time, and we're busy people, and we got places to go and stuff, but I just want to actually have it written down, so when we're filling in everything, we're not looking back and forth at our study sheet or at our formula sheet, and we're messing things, and because we're using it for the first time, right? So let's, okay, so am I finding Sn? I'm actually finding S14. We can be specific. Now remember, that little S14, that means the sum of the first 14 terms. Again, its efficiency makes it confusing, right? Tn means 14th term. Sn, sum of 14 terms, okay? Again, I'm just going to start filling things in as 14 times 2. A is 9, right? Plus N is 14 minus 1 times 6. Let's put that there, and then I'm going to put that over 2. Okay, now before you pick up your calculator, I'm going to stop a lot of you from making a mistake. You have to make sure that you always put a bracket around the top, the entire top. Now, I need everybody to put it in, and I'm just going to ask one person randomly. Out of the 31 of you, I'm just going to pick one person. Okay, by the way, who's away today? What's Seger's last name? Oh, Zach. Oh, sorry, thanks. I appreciate you saying the last name. Okay, anybody else? Should be all one missing. Okay. Everyone should have got it in by now. Okay. So, who am I going to ask? Sarah, what'd you get? 672. Good. Just messing with your head there. Okay. Now, if anyone not, well, I guess you're not going to admit it. But what if you didn't get 672? Anyone going to admit they didn't get 672? Okay. So what you want to do is you want to look up here. This is probably the easiest way to do it. Put a bracket, 14, and then another bracket, 2 times 9 plus 13 times 6. So I actually don't put brackets on the inside if I want to keep it simple. Because sometimes you get so many brackets there, you either get an error or you get, I have no idea what's going on. And then divide it all by 2. So I don't even put the 14 minus 1 because, you know, I don't like to brag, but I'm really good at minusing by 1. Okay. I know I'm impressing you guys, but no, I am. Give me any number. Throw one at me. Come on. Oh, see, no one even wants to try. Okay, we good? Next one. The sum of 22 terms of an arithmetic sequence with T1 equaling negative 18 and T22 equaling 45. Remember what T means and remember what S means, okay? Okay, let's go with what I know. What do I know? A is negative 18. What else? N is 22. Very good. What else? Yeah, or I could even put Tn would be 45. Right? Like I know Tn. I mean, I can put Tn there if it's less confusing to you guys. Okay, and what am I looking for? Sn. So which formula? 2. Okay, so you see how example 1 and example 2 are great examples to show you, oh, okay, I get how I would use this one. Now again, it's our first time going through this one, so I'm just going to write down the formula. Sn equals n times bracket a plus Tn all divided by 2. Okay, so Sn equals n is 22. A is negative 18 plus Tn is 45, all divided by 2. See, this one's even nicer to put in your calculator, but make sure you're doing this, you guys, or you will get it wrong. I'll just ask one lucky person to give me their awesome answer. Okay, Scott, what'd you get?
290.
How did you get that? I'm just kidding. That's a great perk about this job. You get to mess with people's heads. Okay, number 3. Find the sum of the terms of this sequence. Now again, I know this sounds like, you know, pretty weak advice, but don't go looking for something you already have, and go looking for something after you've found you need it. Okay? Now, that would be stupid advice anywhere else in the world, but in here, I have people that are looking for stuff we already have all the time. Okay? And I have people that sometimes don't even know what they're looking for. They're looking, but they don't know what they're looking for because they haven't gone and kind of done a list. Okay? So let's figure out what we have. It's kind of like if we're going to make a cake and we've got to go shopping, well, if we already have it, let's not buy it. Okay? So what do we have? What's D? Negative 5. Good. We have A, which is 17. Tn equals negative 38. Okay? So we're just good to go. Do we need it for both formulas? Okay, so we're not just going to be able to pick a formula for that one, right? We need n and we need Sn. We need two things. Now, when you need two things, that's not good. Do we have a way to find n? How? Okay, you may have seen this before. So sometimes you got to use your Tn formula to get the number of terms, because the number of terms in a series and a sequence, wouldn't they be the same? Right? The number of terms is common between a series and a sequence. See, this is written as a sequence, right? And then it says put a bunch of plus signs in there. So let's go. We know this is negative 38. We know this is 17. We do not know this. So I'm going to go n minus 1 times, and I know this is negative 5. Now I just want to show you, now that you've been doing this enough, I want to show you a quicker way to do these. Like, see how that negative 5 is multiplied to those brackets? You can leave that alone right now as one entity, and let's just subtract 17 to both sides. Okay? And I will get 55 equals n minus 1 times negative 5. Negative, sorry. Now, what can I do? No, a lot of people would. That's not wrong. What's a fast way to do this one, though? Divide by negative 5 to both sides, right? And you get 11 equals n minus 1. And then just add 1 to both sides. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So this one, you can expand the negative 5, put it in, get it together, do that. This is actually the faster way to do it. And it's still mathematically correct because there's a variable there with a number multiplied to it. So we get 12 is n. Now, which formula can we use? First one or second one? First one? Can we use the first one? Yeah. Yeah, you can use both at this point because we know Tn and D. Okay? And in the first class, they all picked, no, use the first one, right? They didn't recognize you can use both. But if you had everything, which one would you use? Second one, right? Why? Because we like simplicity, okay? It's math. Can we please make it simple? But if I was done my test already, and I'd already done it once, I would actually use the formula, the first formula, if I use the second one, and hopefully get the same answer. Okay, so I'm going to do S12 equals n is 12 times 17 plus negative 38 all divided by 2. So the sum of those 12 terms would be negative 126. Okay, now let's look at example 4. I don't want to do example 4, but I want you to just look here and I want you to see how you would do example 4. So if I have, I start salary at $16,000 and I get an $850 increase over the next 12 years. calculate his salary in the 12th year, and B says calculate the total earned over 12 years. What's the difference between these two equations? These two questions, I should say. Okay, what is A asking for? T12. B is asking for S12. Right? And this is a really easy question, so I'm not going to go through it. I know you guys know how to do it. What I want to do is now go to example 5. Now, example 5 has taken a one of the sum formulas and did some simplifying and got Sn equals 1/2 n to 11 minus n. So how this works is, it's like they did the machine for you. So if you put in S22, it'll tell you the sum of 22 numbers in this sequence. Okay? But what they asked me is, what are the first 4 terms? Okay? Well, that's easy, right? Well, let's find, what's S1? What does S1 mean? The sum of all the 1 numbers, right? So if there was 1 number, I want the sum of it. Okay? So that would be 1/2 times 1 all times 11 minus 1. Okay? So what would that answer be? 5. Good. Okay? Now let's do S2. So the sum of 2 numbers in this sequence would be 1/2 times 2 times 11 minus 2. What would you get there? 9. Good. S3 is 1/2 times 3 times 11 minus 3. And you should get 12. And for S4, 1/2 times 4 times 11 minus 4, and you get 14. Okay? Now I just want to be clear that we know this. S1 is 5. S2 is 9. S3 is 12. And S4 is 14. Okay? Now, if I didn't go through this example and I gave it on the quiz tomorrow, if people were lucky, they would get here and they would give me that as the answer. Are those my first 4 terms? No, they're not. That is, S4 is the sum of my 4 terms altogether. So I don't know my terms yet, do I? Okay? But let's talk about this S1 thing. So I've got this long sequence, but I just, the one term in it, if I took that, what would be its sum? So if I took the first term and found the sum of it, what would it be? It would be the first term, would it not? Okay, so S1, so I can say T1 would be 5. Now I need term 2 in this sequence as well. Now the sum of the 2 terms together is 9. I'm not saying the second term is 9, but when I take the first term and second term together, I get the answer 9. So what must T2 be then? It should be 4. How can we find that? 9 minus 5, right? Or not T2 minus T1, S2 minus S1 equals T2. Okay? So what's our formula for T1? S1 equals T1, or we could just do S1 plus 0 minus 0 plus 0 equals T1. We could do that. Just joking. Jeez, tough crowd, man. So yes, S1 just equals T1. Okay? How about, what is T3, do you think? 3. So how do you do that? I think you have yeah, it would just be S3 minus S2 equals T3, right? And what about T4? Now, should you be able to find T4 without doing any more math, but just doing follow the sequence, what should it be? 2, because remember, this is an arithmetic sequence with a difference of -1. It's not 1, okay? But what would be the formula? How do you find the formula for T4? S4 minus S3 equals T3. So, what would be the general formula to find out any term in a series? If I gave you all the series like this, if I gave you all the series, what's the general term to find any, or general formula to find any term in a series? Look at the 3 formulas up there. Okay, look at this formula. Does it have anything in common with this formula? Do you see something happening all the time? I mean, this one's not a very good formula, right? What could I use that would work anytime? Anyone got an idea? Yep.
Same sum as the same term minus the previous sum.
Okay, so you got term and sum in there. That's what messes me up a little bit. Okay, what would you do? Okay, do you see that these two, look here, do you see how these two are always the same? Do you see that? And do you see this is always one less than this one? Okay, so if you ever want to find a term, take the sum minus the sum of the one before that. Okay, again, that's not on your formula sheets. You have to know that one. Okay, so 1 to 8 and 15. One second.